When I was growing up around 8, I watched Star Wars for the first time. I watched The Clone Wars in 2010/2011. It was a fantastic show. George Lucas created the franchise in the year 1977 with the movie that was just titled Star Wars. He wanted the movie to be a space opera with twists and turns everywhere. The bad guys were supposed to be the good guy's father, the hero ended up kissing his sister, the princess falling for a complete scoundrel, and many, many more. And then in 1999, Lucas decided to create the prequel movies to give his original movies more background, so he created the first of a whole new trilogy with the Phantom Menace. I had originally watched this movie after starting the Clone Wars in 2010, so going into the movie, I had already known about the characters from the Clone Wars. This movie starts with an opening crawl that gives you context to what's going on in the movie, which is a genius idea that George Lucas had created. The Trade Federation has set up a blockade around the planet of Naboo in order to force the planet to sign a treaty. The Republic has sent out 2 Jedi Knights as ambassadors to help peacefully solve the treaty. So the movie starts in space as the Republic's ship travels to the blockade. They land on the ship, and we are introduced to the Jedi Knight Qui-Gon Jinn and his apprentice Obi-Wan Kenobi. And they have a back and forth, and Qui-Gon tells Obi-Wan that he is acting nervous and that he needs to calm down, and Obi-Wan says that Master Yoda told him to be mindful of his thoughts. And Qui-Gon tells him that he should be mindful, but not at the expense of the present. Qui-Gon is meant to be this wise Jedi who understands the flaws of the Council, and we are then introduced to Newt Gunray, the leader of the Trade Federation, who is freaking out that the Republic has found out about this blockade and have sent Jedi Knights to stop him because he does not want to go to jail or lose his treaty with the Republic. So he talks to the main bad guy, who is the Sith Lord known as Darth Sidious, who tells him to kill the Jedi. So they filled the room up with dioxide to either kill them or to gas them out so that a firing squad can finish them off had they not died. The Jedi escape the trap, kill the droids, head towards Gunray. They catch up to the room when the Federation closes the door, and the Jedi are forced to pull out their lightsabers and cut through the door. Gunray freaks out that they are cutting through the door still and sends out a droideka. They have shields, and the Jedi cannot cut through the shield, so they are forced to sprint away. They then leave the ship via dropship to the planet of Naboo, and they are forced to escape and hide from the droid army, and they meet Jar Jar on the way. And Qui-Gon has to save Jar Jar, and after saving him, he asks him if he's brainless because he almost got ran over by a tank. And Jar Jar responds to him by saying that he speaks. So Qui-Gon says, the ability to speak does not make one intelligent. Obi-Wan catches up with the group, and Qui-Gon convinces Jar Jar to help them warn the Naboo. But Jar Jar refuses at first because he is scared, and then agrees to help them go to the Gungan city where he is exiled because he was too clumsy. They enter the underwater city, and Jar Jar is arrested upon entering the city, and then they are brought to the leader to convince him to help. So Boss Nass gives him a submarine, and Jar Jar is sentenced to death. Qui-Gon argues to Boss Nass that he had saved Jar Jar's life, so now that Jar Jar owes him a life debt, so he cannot be killed, and then they must take him with them. Boss Nass agrees, and they leave via that submarine, and they are attacked by what is known as a goober fish. It was eaten up by a bigger fish because there's always a bigger fish. While they are in the water, we get introduced to the Queen Amidala, who is talking to Gunray and telling him that his invasion is illegal and that she will bring this up to the Republic. The Queen is then captured, and the Jedi save her, and they go to the hangar and are stopped by the droids. They then destroy the droids and leave a Nubian luxury yacht. They enter space and are shot by the blockade. They send several droids out to repair the ship. Every droid is shot down except for one of them, which just so happens to be R2-D2, and he ends up repairing the ship. For his bravery, he's repaid and made into a royal droid. They escape the blockade, and it is revealed that the hyperdrive is damaged. Meanwhile, Newt Gunray informs Darth Sidious what had happened, and he sends out his apprentice Darth Maul to kill them. Qui-Gon tells the crew that they should go to the planet of Tatooine because it is the closest planet, and it's out the way from the Trade Federation. However, the Royal Guard, Captain Panaka, argues that the planet is controlled by the Hutts, and upon finding the Queen, they will kill her. However, it's the only way, so they decide to go. Upon landing, Qui-Gon leaves with Jar Jar and R2-D2, and Captain Panaka says yes, sending their handmaid and Padme to go with them because the Queen is curious about the planet and their people. Qui-Gon refuses at first, but it's the Queen's wishes, so he lets her go. The group heads to Mos Espa to find a hyperdrive, and they meet a Toydarian named Watto and a slave boy named Anakin. Qui-Gon tries to buy a hyperdrive with Republic Toydaries, and Watto refuses, saying that Republic credits are no good in the Hutt space. Padme talks to Anakin in the meantime, and she is surprised to learn that he is a slave because slavery was outlawed in the Republic, but that does not apply to the Outer Rim. Qui-Gon leaves with his group, trying to think of another way to get a hyperdrive. Jar Jar ends up doing something stupid and bumps into a dog named Saboba, and Anakin has to save him. He also informs the group that there is a sandstorm and that he has shelter at his house and that he needs them to come with him so that they don't die. They go there, they meet his mother, Shmi Skywalker, and Anakin discovers that Qui-Gon Jinn is a Jedi. They then discuss pod races, and apparently no human can do it except for Anakin because he has Jedi reflexes, which Qui-Gon recognizes. They then hatch a plan to win a pod race to help pay for the ship parts. However, Shmi does not want Anakin to go because it is far too dangerous, and Qui-Gon also does not want to put him in danger. But Anakin tells his mother that there's not enough good people in this galaxy and that they need help. So she agrees to it, so Qui-Gon goes to Watto and tells him that he has acquired a pod racer in a game of chance and asks him to have his slaves. Watto pulls out a luck cube and tells him that they can bet on which slave can be taken. If it ends up being red, they can have Shmi, and if it's blue, they can have Anakin. The dice is fixed, so Qui-Gon cheats by using the Force to pick the blue side. So Watto is mad about it, but accepts the deal. Qui-Gon also checks Anakin's blood to get a metachlorine count, and it is revealed to be over 2,000, which is higher than any Jedi, including Master Yoda. Anakin enters the pod race, and Watto tries to cheat by sabotaging Anakin several times, but ends up crashing, and Anakin wins the race. They end up selling the pod, and Qui-Gon goes to collect Anakin from Watto, and threatened to get the Hutts involved because Watto did not want to give up Anakin. But eventually Watto ends up giving up Anakin because he does not want to get the Hutts involved, so Anakin goes and leaves, but does not want to leave his mother behind. But she tells him that it's alright, they'll see each other again, and he says that he'll come back and free her. The group goes and leaves. The group goes to leave and are ambushed by the Sith Lord Darth Maul, who tries to kill the group, and they just narrowly escape, and Qui-Gon questions if he was Sith, since they have not been seen for hundreds of years. They head to Coruscant and are greeted by the Senator Palpatine. The Jedi take Anakin before the Council to have him tested, and he passes the test, but they refuse to train him because he is still concerned about his mother, and that he's far too old for them to train him. Meanwhile, the Queen goes to the courts in Naboo to have the Republic help out her people, but realizes that it's going to take far too long for them to decide if they're going to help or not, so she calls for a vote of no confidence to have a re-election for Chancellor, and she decides to go back to her home planet to help her people. The Jedi decide to send out the 2 Jedi Knights back to help her, and they take Anakin and the rest of the group with them. They leave for Naboo and try to get Boss Nass to help them out. and the Gungans to support him. Padme reveals to the boss that she is actually the queen the whole time, and that the other queen was just a decoy. The boss, she then bends a knee in front of the boss and asks him for his help, begs him for his help. So Boss Nass agrees because he realizes that the people in Naboo do not see themselves above the people of the Gungans. Padme and the group go to recapture the capital city of Theed. They fight their way to the hangar. They go to the hangar to free the pilots so they can send them up to space to go destroy the capital ship. And also the Gungans are fighting the battle droids on the outskirts of the city, and Jar Jar is made a general by Boss Nass. The pilots are free, and Anakin hops in a ship to stay out of danger upon Qui-Gon's request, and accidentally engages the autopilot, causing him to go into space to fight the command ship. Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan are stopped by Darth Maul, and Padme goes to capture the Viceroy, separate from the two Jedi. Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan fight Maul, and end up getting separated by Maul, and Darth Maul ends up stabbing Qui-Gon and killing him. Obi-Wan fights and defeats Maul after seeing this, and promises to train Anakin as Qui-Gon's last wish. Anakin destroys the capital ship, and Padme captures Gunray. They have a funeral for Qui-Gon, and Mace Windu and Yoda discuss the Sith, on who was the master and who was the apprentice, by the rule of two, which was created by Darth Bane, which states that there are always two Sith, no more no less. Now I want to talk about something that is very important to the canon, and that is how a lightsaber works in the film. And I would like to do this for every subsequent film, too. So in the beginning of the movie, we can see the lightsaber cut through battle droids with ease, almost as if it was cutting through butter. And we can see Qui-Gon use it to cut through a reinforced door, showing us the lightsaber is a very powerful weapon that can cut through just about anything. We also see Qui-Gon get stabbed with one and killed by it. And later we see Maul get cleanly in half. That will come up later on in this videos. Next, I want to talk about how the Force works. In this world, we are able to see the Force used for telekinesis and also to be used as a mind trick on Watto. And also for precognition, like when Anakin is pod racing and he can see the events before they can happen. And what I like about these movies is there is a new Force ability brought up in just about every movie made, so the Force is never shown or should never be fully explained, but they use it for dumb concepts in later movies. Now I would like to talk about everything that I like about this movie, and that is the characters of Obi-Wan Kenobi and Qui-Gon Jinn. Qui-Gon is supposed to be this wise Jedi who is also supposed to be Anakin's would-be father had he not died in this movie, and he probably could have saved him in later movies from the dark side. And Obi-Wan is a very charismatic, by-the-books Jedi. I also like how they do the story of the politics in the movie. It's pretty smart the way that they're gone about it. The Trade Federation creates a blockade to stop trade and aid until the Naboo signs a treaty with them. So the Chancellor sends out two Jedis as diplomats to assist. They also rescue the Queen and take her to the capital to have the main government do something by voting on what they should do next. However, it will take way too long, so the Queen calls for a new vote for Chancellor, putting Palpatine in charge of the entire galaxy. I also like the concept of the midichlorians and how it is used to show that not everyone can use the Force, and only Jedi and Sith are so unique into using it. Not everybody can be a Jedi. It is also nice to see Anakin start, and eventually we will see his fall to become Darth Vader. The planets also look really amazing and full of life, which can be said for just about every single Star Wars movie that they've made. But you get to see the incredible swamplands and the palace in inner cities of Naboo called Theed, which takes place in real-life Italy, and the concept of Coruscant always looks full of life and incredible. Now, I don't like the pod racing personally. Now, it's not necessarily anything wrong with it at all, but I just do not care for racing any type of film or media. I also don't like how they treated Darth Maul's character in this movie. Now, I don't think it's bad necessarily, but I feel like they could have done more with the character. Like, they could have showed you why he hates the Jedi so much and why that they're in hiding and all that. And we also could have heard him speak a little bit more. He's got like 2 or 3 lines in the whole movie. But he is a really good character though, and I'm so glad they brought him back in the Clone Wars. Overall, I would give this movie a 7 out of 10. I personally think that this is the worst prequel movie, but that does not make it a bad movie at all. For this being the first introduction to Star Wars like it was for me, it is a very good movie at getting you hooked. With all that said, if you made it this far into the video, I would like it very much if you would like and comment and subscribe, as well as share the video around so that it gets recommended to people. Thank you all very much, and I'll see you guys in the next video.